What's up, YouTube? So before we get started, on First Take, they're going to be going over all the problems with the New York Giants and how they're going to iron it out. So let's see what they have to say.
Eli is not really a starting caliber quarterback, and the only time he looked like a starter was when Odell, in fact, was on the field. So this stuff I hear coming out of the Giants sometimes, well, if Odell's not where he's supposed to be, how does that make Eli look? Well, I don't know, because Eli's much worse when Odell's not out there. So you tell me.
Well, isn't that how it usually works, Max? So if you're a quarterback and your number one receiver's not there, then obviously your numbers are probably going to plummet because you don't have your number one receiver. All the other receivers are most likely aren't as good as he is, so they're going to be dropping balls. They're not running correct routes. There'll be a combination of things. So to say that your quarterback's number is going to drop because his number one receiver, which probably could be the number one receiver in NFL's not there, that should go without saying. So let's keep going.
Eli Manning still has enough arm strength to make all the throws, but he doesn't seem to go through his progressions very well. He doesn't seem to identify open receivers. He seems to, I hate to say it because he was the toughest guy. He was as tough as anyone who ever played the game at the position in his prime. He seems to pack it in to me when the pressure comes in the last couple of years.
So another thing I don't understand is, okay, so people are saying that Eli's old, which he is old. He's 38 years old. But physically, some of the things he's still able to do is not a problem there. But mentally, so he's not making the right reads. He's not making the right checks. He can't throw the ball 5 yards or whatever Max said. But that could be fixed, though, because normally when quarterbacks get older, it's the physical aspect of their game that kind of goes down. They can't throw the deep ball. They can't scramble. It's the physical things. But apparently they're saying that Eli's mental game is going away. Usually quarterbacks' mental game gets better with experience and the older that they get. So maybe the New York Giants might be onto something about wanting to keep Eli because physically he still has it. They just need to get his mind right. I don't know. But let's keep going.
A lot of check downs. Can't even get the ball out accurately. 5 yards to Saquon. Saquon has to come back, never on his steps, tackled at the line of scrimmage. He's been really bad, guys. And so to pretend that look at what the quarterbacks are making. When we look at tape, we see the job of a GM is not to see if someone can play. The job as a GM is to properly price how that player plays. Now, here's the issue. When he talks about an offer they couldn't refuse, let's not forget the Zeitler for Olivier Vernon trade was kind of folded into this one. It was all part of the same deal. So Zeitler is a great pickup. $10 million a year, more or less. He's in his prime now. You got him through age 31 the next several years at a reasonable price for an all-pro caliber pass blocker at the guard position. They need help on the offensive line. Fine, that's a good get. The 17th pick in the first round, okay, for a talent like Odell. And then the third round pick practically doesn't count. It's the last pick in the third round. They had 2 third-round picks. You got the lesser one. It's like a 4th-round pick almost. That's what.
So pretty much, it goes without saying. It seemed like the Giants got screwed over. I mean, what are you doing giving up Odell Beckham Jr. to the Browns when for what they got back? They got crumbs back for a number one wide receiver in the league. They got crumbs. So it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If it was me, somebody would be getting fired making that type of decision. And for what they got for Odell Beckham, I don't know. Let's keep going.
You're bragging about?
Yeah.
And you had to give up for that Odell and Olivier Vernon, who, by the way, I think is a little underrated, to tell you the truth, the way the Giants were using them and as much as the defense had to be on the field. The point is that that's not a blow you away kind of, oh, my God, we had to do a trade. And we talked about this, Lewis. If it were, you wouldn't have given Odell the $20 million cash money, which is the best kind, by the way, if you're getting it. You wouldn't have.
Wait a minute. You guys go back about 5 seconds. Was Stephen A falling asleep? Was that what was happening? Go back and look at Stephen A. Go about 5 seconds. I think he was falling asleep. Let's keep going.
Given him that and had this huge dead cap hit on your books. Now that 17th pick in the first round is not a steal because it's an impact player for low money. You're paying huge money for a guy who may not even be an impact player. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, look, I have issues with both things, but look, I think I have a bigger issue with the Odell situation because of this. Let's just go back to what Adam has said. And look, I've heard the same thing. If there, in fact, were teams that had better deals on the table as far as trying to acquire Odell Beckham Jr., then I guess it wasn't a deal you couldn't refuse. You could have refused the deal that you got, and you could have got a better deal. So it is more than just about football, okay? Number two, what changed wasn't that you had a deal you couldn't refuse. What changed was that what you thought you had in your football team and what you thought you were bringing into your football team for 2018 that was were hopeful was going to allow you to make a run in the NFC East didn't pan out. That's what changed. What you realize is that, man, my roster is weaker than I thought. All the optimism you had heading into 2018 and how you thought Nate Solder would help, how you thought Saquon Barkley would help, how you thought a new defensive coordinator, a new defensive system, a new multiple system would help. It didn't pan out. That's what changed. And then on top of it, when you have a player who, quite honestly, I'm sure over time people grew weary of and grew tired of as far as whether or not they thought he was fitting into exactly how they wanted Giants players to conduct themselves. When you grew tired of that and you realize that you have someone who's a tradable asset who you can then use those assets that you get by trading him to help build up a roster that you misevaluated, you thought, well, we'll start over then. We'll start over.
No, you don't start over. And it doesn't matter. As Odell Beckham was producing, you don't get rid of him. It's production over tolerance. So if somebody doesn't like what he's doing off the field or in the clubhouse or whatever, that's fine. As long as he's balling, you don't get rid of him. You make it work. You make adjustments around what's going on the outside. But as long as he's balling, you rebuild off of him and you keep him. Let's keep going.
Again, we'll take a 180 and we'll start over again. Now, as far as the quarterback situation is concerned, you know what? It's very subjective and it's very emotional when you're talking about quarterbacks a lot of times. A lot of times it doesn't have a whole lot of objectivity to it because you're talking about a guy who's won 2 Super Bowls for him, who people have personal relationships with. All right? So let's just throw that out the window. Let's just fast forward, though, as far as what are they going to do looking forward to 2020 and beyond? Or in 2019 and beyond. Let's just start there. Are they going to draft a quarterback in this year's draft? This is where the quarterback discussion becomes interesting for me. Because if they don't take one, which you are hearing rumblings more and more about them not taking a quarterback in this year's draft, and that they think that Eli doesn't have just 1 year, but maybe a few years left, given the circumstances where that they could hopefully create where the offensive line continues to get stronger with the addition of Kevin Zeitler, with the improvement of Will Hernandez, with the improvement of Nate Solder, with the improvement of Saquon Barkley, and maybe they add a wide receiver somewhere
right.
to not.
Lewis, that's my problem.
That's what this is. This is what. See, this was a misevaluation issue for me.
No,
that's what this was.
Let's be honest. What it is, it's a dumb plan. Here's a good plan. Here's a reasonable plan which I could buy whether or not it's good. Look, we're keeping Eli because we're drafting Haskins. We're going to get him with a 6th pick, or we picked up an asset to jump up and get him because we won a few too many games. We're going to draft Haskins. He's going to learn under Eli. He needs about a year of seasoning. We're not going to just rush him. Okay, I can understand. That's why we picked up Zeitler, and as you mentioned, Hernandez. Maybe we'll draft a right tackle, and we'll draft a defense. Okay, that's one plan. Here's another plan. We're tanking for Tua. And, we don't think there's any... We're not going to try to invent a franchise quarterback in this draft. We don't see it. We don't believe in Kyler. We're not going to get Kyler Murray anyway. We don't believe in Haskins or Drew Lock or any one of those guys.
Which, quite honestly, the whole tank...
I'm just saying...
I know what you're saying.
So, actually... If one smart thing for the Giants, if you don't see a quarterback they want this year in the draft, okay, leave it alone. Smart, save money, don't waste anything on somebody that you don't like. Be sure on who you're going to like. But to then go and say that maybe they're going to tank next season in order to get Tua, that doesn't make sense at all because it's a long season and too many things can happen. Too many variables can come up. Tua could get hurt. He might want to, I don't know what year he is. He might want to go back to school. There's a combination. They might pick up a free agent quarterback somewhere else along the lines. There's just too many things that could happen over a course of a year for you to say, let's tank all of next year. And the year hadn't even started yet. And you guys want to tank it? For all we know, the Giants could go 16-0. Will they? Probably not. But you don't know what could happen. Eli did it. Every time Eli went to the Super Bowl, I think they only made it in the playoffs off a wild card. And what happened? He kept winning and winning and winning until what? He beat arguably the GOAT, Tom Brady. He beat him twice off a season that they didn't even start doing good up. So you never know what could happen. If you're going to tank a season, you're probably going to maybe figure that out by halfway through to the latter half of your season. But to decided to tank a season before that season's even started, that's a big no-no. That's a big no-no because you don't know what could happen. But let's keep going.
It's a plan, at least I can see.
I just want to say this, though.
Yeah.
The whole notion of tanking for Tua is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard in all my years, really, of being involved with football. If people are out there right now really thinking that that's what we're going to do, we're going to wait to 2020, and we're going to see if we could strip our team down and put ourselves in a position where we could possibly draft Tua, then you know what? You shouldn't be building rosters. You shouldn't be talking about roster construction. You shouldn't be doing it. Because I'm telling you what, it's just ridiculous. And it's really disrespectful.
That is the plan.
I got you. But
I think this is the plan. I think this is the plan. I think they brought in they think they're going to fix the offensive line with the Zeitler trade, and with Will Hernandez, everyone you just mentioned. Now they have their running back, their veteran quarterback, and they're going to draft the defense, and they'll win 7 or 8 games and show the right culture, and Golden Tate's going to play the right way and everything.
You may be onto something.
What they're going to do is just be a bad team again.
You may be onto something there. Because I'm telling you what, the rumblings are that I can't wait. I'm going to Ohio State's Pro Day tonight. I'm flying